Hello and welcome back. Today's video will be the final reveal video of my SHERMAN diorama. This is how it looks, just if you look quickly around it. I think I did a pretty nice job on it, and it was my first very realistic diorama. I have here also a hammock that I put it just in that river and that mud. And here I have my SHERMAN and a king tiger that I kit bashed together. I think they turned out pretty nice. That was actually an off-camera project that I only filmed on camera. And that were actually the last few videos. The painting of this king SHERMAN and making the base. It was actually a pretty cheap base to make. On the end I'll show you the price for actually everything. I also placed a lot of grass on it and some bushes, just to give it a very cool look on the diorama. I think the river turned out also pretty nice, and it is also actually going onto the road a bit, just so it overflows. I think this is also a very interesting detail. I was working for this diorama actually pretty long. The base took me around 25 hours to make. The videos are actually much faster just because I cut some sections out and I did also a few things off camera. And the tank took me 50 hours or maybe 70 hours to make. I think more 50. It was also a long time to do all the chipping work on it. The assembly of this was also pretty bad. I mean, it took me a long just because the turret ring of the king tiger is much bigger than on the SHERMAN, so I needed to modify the turret ring. I added also a lot of camouflage, as you can see. I think it turned out pretty nice with all that camouflage. It looks like one big bush. I think that's just how camouflage should look like. Just a lot of camouflage on one tank, so it is not so good to see actually if you are looking at that tank from a very far distance. The hammock I assembled actually a few years ago, or maybe 1 year ago or two, something like that, and it was pretty bad made. This was one of my first kind of vehicles, so it was not the best one, so I just decided to paint it almost completely rusted, and I placed it on this diorama. This costed me also 50 zloty, what is 10 euros and a few cents, but was very cheap, so this is why I actually was not thinking about restoring that tank. I just put it here. I also found a lot of foliage on the road when I was just walking, so that was also, I think, a pretty nice detail on this diorama. I think everything turned out pretty nice, only I placed this track the wrong side. Those triangles should be placed like that, but that's not actually a huge problem. I think everything looks pretty nice. Just write your ideas about that diorama and just what you think in the comments. Right now I'll just maybe tell all the prices of that stuff on this diorama. So right now I'll also count the models here. And this hammock, as I said, costed me 50 zloty, what is around 10 euros. I will also make on the end of the video one wall list on the screen, just that you can write everything. The SHERMAN costed me somewhere around also 50 zloty, I think. And the king tiger also the same, so we have already 150 zloty, what is actually not too much. Here I also have applied some plaster on the base, what costed me around 10 euros, but it's also pretty cheap. Actually my plaster I got for free, but normally it costs 10 euros. The base I made out of cardboard and some trash, so it was for free. So also I had added some mud effects. They costed me also 10 euros, what was pretty expensive, and this is why I also make my own mud effects. But in this Dharma I used some mud effects from the shop. Then I also used a paint for painting the base. It costed me also around 4 euros or 3 euros, something like that, but it was also pretty cheap. I also used two types of static grass, and both of them I bought for 5 euros, what is 10 euros in all the static grass, but I used just a bit of that static grass, so you will use probably that static grass for maybe 20 dharmas or maybe even more. So actually we are just counting the price what if you need to buy all of these things. Then I used some foliage. Some of that foliage was for free, like those plants here, and some of the foliage was pretty expensive, like those bushes. I bought them for 10 euros, what was also not so cheap. Then I had also this thing, and I made that from this glue, and this costed me 10 zlotych a piece, and I used two of them, what transfers to I think 5 euros for both of these glues to make that river, that is also I think pretty cheap. If you compare it to some resins, I think that is very cheap. And this is actually pretty much it for the base. Also the sides, I made them from balsa wood, but balsa wood was pretty cheap to actually get. It costed me 1 euro for a huge plank. For the paints for the King Sherman, I was using a few of them, and that was actually, I will show them in a minute. So I painted it first with Hull Red. This costed me 2 euros and 60 cents. Then I used, just to add some shading in the rust, I used normal rust, also 2 euros and 60 cents. Then I used something different. Then I used this chipping fluid from Valio, not a promotion, but I just used that. This costed me, I think, 5 euros, what was also pretty cheap for such a big bottle. I used just a bit of that. Then I painted it with this, and this is a olive drab paint in spray. This costed me, I think, somewhere around, I think 10 euros or maybe 15 euros, but you can also buy a bottle like that for 2 euros and 60 cents. Then I chipped everything, and I used this primer to prime everything. This costed me also 10 or 15 euros, what was also pretty cheap for such a big bottle of primer. And I used actually the same paints on the Hanemac, so I don't count them twice. So for this Dharma I didn't spend a lot. So this is pretty much it for today's video. I just need to turn the light off. Yeah, like that. It is making that annoying sound what I don't like. So this is why I turned it off. This Dharma is actually pretty small. I will show it to you guys in a moment. So this is it. So it was actually 15 centimeters by 16, so it is even smaller than I think. But it's pretty small, and I think I added a lot of realistic things to it. Maybe it isn't the most realistic Dharma on the internet, but I think this is the most realistic on this channel. I'm also not a professional Dharma maker, so this is why it is not so realistic. I enjoyed making this project a lot. It was just a lot of fun to do that. I really like how it turned out. This Dharma is actually in 1/72 scale, so it is pretty small. I also like how the King Sherman turned out. When I was making that, I didn't know how it will look. Well, at first it looked not so good. I will put on some photos here, but when I painted it and I made this Dharma, it looks right now very nice. So I think it was worth the effort to do that. What can I say more? I just liked that project. I would also recommend you guys to do some hybrids. Maybe not a King Sherman, but do whatever you want. Maybe a Tiger 1 with a Sherman, or a Pershing with a Tiger, or maybe a Panther with a Pershing. I don't know. Just try to do some stuff like that. That is very nice to do. I'm not a rivet counter, and I don't like rivet counting. It is just, I mean, you can rivet count, but almost every modeler does that. There are not many modelers that do kit bashing and stuff like I do. I mean, people are rivet counting a lot, so you are actually making something that is already existing. And also, sorry for the background there. I just need to clean up that trash. Really sorry, but yeah. And also, by kit bashing and doing your own stuff, you're probably making something that does not exist. I was checking the internet and I found no one making a King Sherman, so that's actually something that is pretty nice. Maybe someone off the internet did make that one, but on the internet I could not find a King Sherman, so I am pretty sure that I'm the only on the internet that made a King Sherman. Right now, it will be pretty much it for today's video. I will give you one more close look at the Dharma, and I'll put the price list on the screen, so you'll see how much everything did cost. So thanks for watching, and bye!